Right, wonderful. Guys, we have a game. The game is on.
You've got Lemon Legends versus. Oh, you guys stream too for us
Oh,
on
yeah,
through
I'll
Discord.
stream it now. Give me a second. I'm literally only home from work and you're like, God, please, 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 please.
Uh, no, like I'm going. It's just like I know it's a week wait. It is weekend just going. Yeah,
hmm
Okay, wonderful. There we go.
just
Now
do
I'll
it
stream
for
it for
me.
you guys. And then here.
W. All right.
All right, we're good.
Okay, can you guys see
I
that?
sent it. Yeah, I can see it. It's good. It's a little bit gray though. It's like darkened.
Dark.
It should be
It's
fine, though.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's always like that.
I think that's just the way Discord does it, but you should see the whole screen. So guys, game. Sorry guys. This is like extremely quick stream I had to pop up. This is a little Lemon Legends tournament we put together. So everyone who's a part of the Lemon Legends gang, they're all basically doing a little bit of thing here. So
Let's go.
really fun. So we got Jesus versus top streamer Belinus. They are about to go at it. So I'm going
Round
to
three.
leave you a lot nightmare here because I have to play my own game because
Uh-oh.
I gotta multitask. Oh my god.
Commenting by myself.
I know. Here,
Lava
I'll
had to
see
go,
if I
I
can get someone
guess.
else in here.
Yes, please.
I will. Alright, I just need to set
Thank
my
you.
own
Thank
thing.
you.
Ontiri. I'll get scoped in here. Scoped. Can you hop in now?
Oh, already here.
Oh,
Hello.
they just didn't even have to.
Hello,
Right,
scoped.
I have to play my game. You guys, good luck, right? Let me change the commentator thing real quick. Because
Thank
Belinus
you.
doesn't exist on the actual system, right? We have to
Yeah.
swap over to the old format. So
Oh, the old
Well,
issue.
once we get to your games, we can start doing
yeah,
Yeah,
the
sure.
the
one.
other one.
We'll see. Yeah, just like pray Jesus knocks out Belinus here quite easily.
Well, Bellows has been doing pretty good. He's won 2 in a row, playing very decently.
Yeah, going to round 3 is already pretty decent in most of those Balatro tournaments anyway. So, what have I missed during this exact game nights?
It just started.
It's just
we
started.
both have 4 lives.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're on psychic. Yeah, we're on first boss blend. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so
These matches though, all the PvP blinds are also boss blinds. So, oh wait, you did the wrong settings, Jesus.
I was about to
Wrong
say that looks like
settings.
a regular PvP blind to me.
Yeah, I gotta let them know.
Wait, what did I do?
PvP blinds aren't boss blinds.
Why are they boss blinds?
No, why aren't they boss blinds? They have to be boss blinds.
Guys, I'm so confused. How are they playing the game? What?
Wait, no, it looks good on Belnus' stream.
On
it looks
Belnos,
like-
it looks good.
Yeah, on Jesus it does not.
It looked like a normal PvP blind for
Yeah, right.
Jesus.
We agree. Not
It was red,
exactly
and then
sure.
Belnos is doing the needle. My poly
Can
10,
someone
no.
check in on and see what the hell they're doing?
I'm checking in. Bellonos looks like he's playing it right, but Jesus doesn't have the right boss line.
What? What have I just joined? Goodness.
This is what happens when Nightmare calls me and says, Spider, I need you to stream the event in 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay,
Hey.
I guess I have to. I don't even have music set up. This is how quick and shoddy this stream is. You guys are like making
Get some
it.
music.
I'm making
Need some music.
It's hard. It's difficult. You can't just like summon music
Get
into
some
existence.
music.
He
Let
has
the
to make
bodies
the
hit the
music.
floor.
He has to create the music live. That's Bristol Versus. He has to create
Yeah,
it in the
I
moment.
could help.
Okay, there we go. Balatro music is
I'm
on.
busy,
There,
yeah.
everything I've ever wanted.
Change stream title at mods.
Oh my god, yeah. Sorry. There's just so much goddamn stuff. They started the game, so now I'm
can
rushing.
help. You don't need to rush. They have to restart anyways.
Oh, they have to restart?
Yeah, because Jesus' boss blind isn't PvP.
Why is
nice.
that? Does he like mess up his game, or does he have all the
Yeah,
right mods?
Messed up the settings.
This is still 2.8,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, 2.8.
Yes, but was it personal setting? I'm surprised it's like different for the two of them.
That is weird.
Is it like a like it's gotta be either a version issue or
I mean, their last game was fine, or Jesus' last game was fine.
that's really odd. I'm not exactly sure what's even going on here with those settings failing.
I'm trying to figure it out right
Is it just-
now.
Is it just a reset and try and see how it goes?
That's what it looks like.
Sorry. All right,
Yes.
everything's changed. Stream title should be fixed.
Hydier has
Huge.
thrown me to Hydier has thrown me to the wolves here.
I'm in front of the walls, gang. Don't worry, we're all at the walls. Everyone's stuck to it.
Except
I-
Nightmare. Nightmare's-
I'm
Nightmare's
walking
just
against
going.
the wall, making sure y'all are still against it.
Nightmare was the only one who had prep time during this whole thing. He's like Batman for real.
I mean, it's unfortunate we have to restart, but well, not the whole tournament, just this match.
Should be fine. I will say though,
Yeah,
I am shocked to see checkered deck. I think this is the first time I've seen checkered deck in like a tournament set, or at least a stream.
Yeah.
Set.
oh yeah, Jesus didn't have his enabled.
Bro.
Oh my-
What a dumbass.
Wow.
No, why are we leaving?
Man is silly.
Huh?
Someone, can we get like a big huh in the chat, please?
Huh?
Does he think that maybe it counts as like an FF? Since he didn't have the right settings on?
No. He knows. It says he's getting back on Balatro Mod Manager on his Discord.
Alright, fair enough. This one's close enough.
Please
What
do not
was that
touch the
noise?
soundboard. Never ever touch the soundboard again. I'm removing your privileges.
No!
Wait, I don't have the soundboard either. Wait, give me the soundboard.
No, I
No.
don't think.
Oh wait, I do have the soundboard.
my our beloved boss. Ah,
Alright,
Yeah, we've had no fun. We've had no fun with the Discord emotes or whatever they are.
no, okay, this was a horrendous idea.
Okay, I'm done.
I'm so sorry,
Maybe.
Hydier.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm blaming this all on Nightmare anyway.
Whoa! I did nothing.
Okay.
No, I hate that.
uh,
Oh
is
god,
Burb
what,
alive? Like, I'm trying to message him. He's not.
Burb should be good.
what kind of monster have I created? Oh, good lord. And you know what? At the very least, I came in at the right time for entertainment value, or we're getting all this fixed.
Huge. Let's
Real.
go.
That's-
You know, why didn't they just wait in the first place for me to like set it up before? And then now we're waiting still anyway. So I rush and I do a bunch of work, and yet they haven't even started yet. You know what? These guys.
At least good news, it shows that you're a really competent host and that you have the skills to take care of this sort of thing quickly.
Yeah, and you know what I'm
Amen.
gonna do after this stream? I'm gonna take care of someone called Nightmare.
Hey,
That's
you said you were fine for the tournament, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you go and waste
That's-
2 hours at work.
Oh, and there I go, you know, having a job. Oh my god, my bad, my bad. My bad, you know, Nightmare. I totally understand. I should just quit my job and be a full-time Balatro
Exactly.
streamer. Oh, you're so right.
Exactly.
You're so right.
Hi dear, quick question. Will
Yeah.
you do that before or after I make fun of you for busting out of top 8 again?
Oh, unfortunate.
don't talk about that.
Alright, you know what? Either way, folks, let's get back into the game properly.
We're here.
This time, Belnos and Jesus going at it once again. This time with both players having boss effects enabled, so
Finally,
for those that are not familiar with the setting, it's essentially just having the PvP blind at the same time as your usual Balatro boss blind. So what this changes for a lot of different strats is that, for example, suits, things that punish you for certain suits, such as playing towards hearts too much, or just any suit, just any boss blinds that remove a suit. For wildcards, for Ancient Joker, for Bloodstone, those can be really important, so the strategy of spamming Suns can be a bit less effective than it usually is. Otherwise, it can also change specifically. For example, the Psychic, as we know, can really hinder high card builds, or essentially every kind of decision that you're used to in your usual Balatro games about boss blinds are applied here. So hopefully we'll see some decent strat changes in that regard. For example, not playing towards Bloodstone as much or Ancient Joker as much. We'll see natural negative. Let's
You
go
are really
gambling.
good at this. I'm not. I'm not that good. You got this.
What, do you want me to solo
I'll-
cast this?
No, I'll be casting. I just you just made me a lot less like
Pressured.
optimistic, I guess. Yeah. Right.
Alright, Belnos though having to sell, seeing that natural negative that Jesus did not see, and
Ooh.
having to sell the Mystic Summit for it.
Wait, that's interesting. Why didn't Jesus see that?
Because
Did you just like pick up the?
opened a Buffoon pack, I believe, in like a different
Yeah.
order. Possibly didn't see it. But what
I
I'm
see
curious
that.
to know is that do you think that selling the Mystic Summit for the natural negative is worth it? Here?
Awesome. The Mystic Summit is the base mold, but maybe we want to guarantee some econ with the gambling. I'm unsure. Balanos' strat is definitely a decent one. It's a way to go.
What I do see here, though, while I was talking about not playing towards Bloodstone as much, we do see the Bloodstone on Jesus' side and on
He's here.
checkered deck of all things.
One of the best places to find it. Although the heart cards are going to be debuffed for this PvP blind, if I saw correctly.
Bloodstone. I mean, that's still a pickup regardless. It only hinders you for like
Yeah.
a single boss blind, and then you just keep it rolling. Like,
Absolutely.
is the
Doesn't
Blue
get-
Joker to
doesn't
be
get
picked
debuffed
up,
anymore.
though? That's a lot of chips, and it is polychrome, so it is a source of X mold. But do we think it's worth it?
It does ruin the Ankh possibility, so you got to take that into account. But he doesn't care.
I think part of why he does consider it to be a good option is because he has the negative Let's Go Gambling. So potentially an Econ
Yeah.
Joker is a Joker that doesn't occupy him any space, so he has a bit more space to get that decent chips and some X mult going into the next boss blind.
That is true. Yeah.
Oh, and Let's Go
Winning in
Gambling
one,
hits
though.
again, actually. It hit twice in 2 rounds.
That might be bad econ value for Balanos, but because those winning in ones is not going to let him get more gambling value.
I mean, if it hits and you win because of it, it's still gambling value.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
But we do pick up the gift card and the Chaos the Clown. The only difference is that on the Jesus' side, we have this Mystic Summit instead of the Blue Joker. And I will say,
Mhm.
considering that the Blue Joker is Polychrome, I'm a bit more confident in Belanos' setup right now.
Yeah, Balanos is a decent contender going into the tournament. It's looking like he's going to take it. I mean, he's won 3 in a row. He's playing very decently, I'd say.
We'll have to see. We're playing the flush, and I actually do agree with this play since it gives us the most Blue Joker value regardless of
Ooh.
what else happens. The X
There's a straight flush on the board for both players.
It was upgraded by the Neptune on the side of Belnos, so this could be huge, but the unfortunate misfire doesn't get the proc for Let's Go Gambling that he wants. Both players have going into this with a Empress card actually, and getting the straight flush on the side of Jesus as well. But even with the Mystic Summit, it's not enough that Polychrome is just doing more. That Polychrome Blue Joker is doing a bit more damage right now.
I agree.
The only issue here is that we still have 3 hands on the side of Jesus, but without any discards. We'll have to see. Full House is played though. That could be pretty
Level
decent.
0.
And let's go gambling. Hits.
Ooh. Not enough though. You might have to get one more.
We need one more hit here. Will we see it? We have one
Uh-oh.
more shot. Wait, but we have
The flush is the
one-
only thing he has.
and we have one more shot on Belnos' side as well. And we have more chips because ours is a spade flush. Let's see here. It does
Nope.
not hit.
Unfortunate. Yeah, Belno's taking the first PvP blind on Jesus. Pretty good.
Pretty good indeed. We do get a bit more
Ooh,
Ooh, the family could be really interesting getting into this there with a flush 5 setup with the Bloodstone. That family could pop off really hard.
it's also eternal. You have to take into account for that.
It's still a ×4 mold. I think in the Black
It
State
is,
you need to take some
yeah,
risks, and I think a ×4 mold is always worth it here.
definitely, yeah. I would also take that. Probably get out of. We don't really need the base mold. We have the Bloodstone.
Plus, with the family, if we can manage to set that up, a couple of deaths here could definitely be good. One joker that I want to mention, I don't think it's going to be picked, but Castle is really good for a checker deck. For those that don't know how Castle works, it works
Right.
similarly to Rebate, for example, where it checks the suits in your deck first and then gives you the ones that you want off of that. We did not pick the family, we picked the Lustful Joker on the side of Elenos.
Interesting. I mean, that is his base mold. That's looking like we're gonna keep it for a while.
That is his base mold, and that does trigger during the Bloodstone hand as well. That's an important thing to consider. It triggers during your Bloodstone hand, so it's base mold during the whole Bloodstone triggering process. So it's a lot better than something like the Mystic Summit that we mentioned earlier.
It looks like Balanos is gonna take the castle. I love that. Love to see it.
Castle as well. Yeah, like we mentioned, is really strong on checker deck because it essentially, without any deck building, guaranteed gets twice value. The unfortunate part is that when you're stuck with a handful of hearts such as this, you have to decide to either discard or just play it outright. We do play the high card, a little mix of both here, just trying to get some more chips value. Do we have anything else to dig for on Balance side? I don't believe so, right?
Probably just the spades, I'd say. We don't have any gold cards, no lucky cards. Probably just the mold cards.
Yeah, at this point, you're just trying to get as many of those spade triggers as possible. Hangman, the last two, I do like that. We want to get as many hearts as possible. Jesus. The one thing as well is that Jesus kept both Chaos the Clown and Gift Card. So in terms of econ with the Temperance value and everything, I do believe he's going to be ahead by quite a bit in terms of the econ. There's the Death and the Seltzer as well. That could be massive getting into the next boss blind.
Yeah, that could get him the win. Eternal Acrobat as well. Interesting.
That's a bit tough. Compared to the family, it's a lot more conditional, and it's also just less mult in general.
I think it's a pickup here. We need some scoring. We're down 1 life, unless we want some more econ. Balanos is gonna pick up the Seltzer.
We do know that we also want to pick up the Seltzer after, just because of how much scoring it is so far. Maybe the Castle goes on the side of Belanos here. No, we skip it actually. That X-Molt, we have no X-Molt on Belanos' side aside from that Bloodstone. That Bloodstone needs to wake up something fierce if we want to get something here. And it actually is skipped on the side of Jesus as well.
The Acrobat? Ooh.
The Acrobat was skipped either way. So I think both players just, and there's the Seltzer picked up on the side of Jesus, not too surprising, but yeah. I think just both not wanting to risk it on a simple ×3 molt when we have so much left to go for. Both players wanting more econ into the late game, possibly some more unconditional retriggers, like such as the Sock and Buskin, for example, for potential face guards or anything along those lines. So they don't want to risk on something that's pretty much the equivalent of like what, 3 Bloodstone triggers, 2 Bloodstone triggers, depending on the hand.
Yeah. What are we looking at? Belanos did take the Seltzer. I don't know if we missed that. And then Jesus in the shop, he picked up a King Diamond's Glass card.
That is interesting. We're gonna remember, glass cards, for those that are unfamiliar with Balatro gameplay, glass cards are not available because Justice is not available in general, so the standard packs are the only way that you can get those glass cards. So I understand getting them early, especially considering that it's a face card, so there's a lot of potential synergy there, and you only need a sun card to really make that into your main build.
Yeah, agree. Looking for any levels on his flush or 4 of a kind.
We did see him put 2 wild 4s in his deck, possibly hoping for a hack instead of playing for both hackable cards and Sock and Buskin, which I do agree with in general.
Yeah.
Baron.
Ooh, a Baron.
The issue
Shoot
now.
Shoot the Min Baron. He does have
Ugh.
that eternal family.
Yeah, the problem is picking up that family makes it so you either have that ×4 that's never going to trigger, or you're going to try and go for that Baron and it skips, which I fully agree with, considering
Yeah.
that eternal family. What I'm more interested in is whether or not Balanos will make the same choice if that Baron shows up.
He does only have that one Eternal, and it's giving chips. I think it's a decent play that he could make. I think it could
It is-
be beneficial towards him.
It is an option to consider. We'll have to
Mm.
see.
So I think Jesus is going to take this with that 4 of a kind value. At least that's what it's looking like. It's a bit too early to tell, though.
Should
Only
be
3,000. Never mind.
not be surprised. Straight flush on the side of Balanos with the full
Ooh.
seltzer. Here's the difference. Balanos played that
Oh.
with the full seltzer retrigger on Bloodstone, retriggering the entire hand on a straight flush, which has so much baseball to start off with.
Wow.
And he got the Let's Go Gambling trigger as well as all of
Yeah.
that. So that's just
Jesus is not getting that score, it looks like.
never. That is so much more than whatever Jesus can do. The thing is, for Jesus, we are playing those 4 of a kind, those 3 of a kinds, but what we're looking for here is to get that Bloodstone to trigger as many times as we want within the same hand, especially considering that we have the Seltzer. Balanos just playing towards his scoring joker so much better than Jesus has been this boss blind.
I will say he's playing a little bit differently than his other matches. Both matches that he played in round 1 and round 2, he went down to 1 life and won them. So him taking the lives early on his opponent is definitely a different play than he was doing before.
Would you consider it a bad sign, or would you consider it, on the contrary, a sign of a show of confidence, really?
I mean, losing the lives is definitely like it does get him the econ that he needs for Belanos, but him not getting it this time, it could be a little bit sketch, but I don't think it makes much of a difference.
There's the
I
King
think
of
he could
Diamonds.
get there.
There's the King of Diamonds that we mentioned. Belanos farther behind in the standard pack lineup. Consolation on the side of Jesus going to be immediately skipped. Faceless Joker could be an option, but we don't have that much deck fixing as the thing just yet. We don't have that many face cards. Seltzer are going to be sold for it. I don't mind this play too much, considering that Seltzer is not going to be with us for very long. And at this point, I believe Jesus is just trying to get as many power jokers as possible, rolling down as much as possible, going into next PvP blind. And there's the Baron on the side of Belanos.
Baron and shoot them in both. It is a decent pickup, maybe. He rolls past it though. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it feels like the Baron here. As much as we enjoy the meme of Pog Baron Pog, it would have been quite the bait here in this situation.
What we're looking for on Black Stake as well. May I remind you?
Yeah,
this
higher-
Baron's
the high-
mandatory, says Turkey.
It's mandatory to be seen. It's not mandatory to be
Yeah.
bought in any way.
Yeah.
Good.
Get the 4 of a kind from Jesus.
Yeah, I think, okay, here's the thing. I think that family is actually kind of hurting Jesus in the long run, and here's why I think this. I think he's playing towards it too much compared to the Bloodstone, whereas the Bloodstone usually brings you more value and has more synergy in general. You need to get that deck fixing up before you really play towards that family. We've seen it a little bit with the Lovers on the 4, but the issue is that we put the Lovers on a hard card. Oh my god, there's a
Oops, all
neutral.
6s. Huge.
That is massive. The fact
And
that
we take it.
Of course, like, you never skip this. The thing
Yeah.
is, Jesus sees this before Belanos. Belanos is really far in the shop now, so I'm pretty sure Jesus should just clear no matter the boss, no matter what happens for the next PvP blind here. If he plays a single hard flush, he should never lose unless Belanos's Seltzer is still alive. I do not believe it will be.
His dice is going against the boss blind. The boss blind is the 1 in 7 drawn face down. Now it's 2 in 7.
Considering that we're playing on checkered with your suits
Yeah.
being really easy to spot, I don't think it should be too bad. What I do
Should be fine.
what I do think is really good though is that it plays with the Let's Go Gambling. It allows you more econ, more time, and more chances to get that ×4, and I think that could be really big for Jesus' economy, like really scaling even further with that. And it's, yeah, he hits it again. He gets out of that he gets out of that blind with $70. If you get some lucky cards on the board, Jesus could just run away with this.
I mean, without the lucky cards, that's only 17,000. We're not scoring 200,000 without the lucky cards.
Yeah, but the thing is, Belnos' Seltzer is gonna run out soon, so I don't think
That's true.
I do think Jesus, especially if we can get some flush fives full of hearts going, could definitely just like win off of this and just having this way earlier.
Yeah.
See. The thing is, Belnos does have a lot more base mult. The trio.
Ooh, the trio.
And the business card. Wow,
that's good for scoring.
Business card. The thing is, business card is so good here as well because it also plays with the Oops All Sixes.
The dice.
At this point, you just want every single face card, like hard face card that you can get, and just pray that you don't run into the plan. We sell the business card?
I'm not sure about that. I mean, the gambling is scoring and economy. I guess he was thinking about that.
I think you just leave the trio here. I don't think you need that trio for now, given what you're playing for. And especially given the fact that you don't have this much econ, the fact that you don't have this much deck fixing just yet.
He is 2 lives down though, so maybe he wanted to get that 1 life off of him early, or right here.
I suppose so. The problem is Belnos still has that seltzer that we sold earlier for Jesus. So it's 10 potential triggers against 5 guaranteed ones, but Belnos, as we mentioned, has the Lustful Joker, so... And Jesus, given the fact that we don't have the deck fixing yet, that trio and that family are completely useless for now.
448,000 from Belnos. Let's see if Jesus can get that 4 of a kind.
I really don't think he can. I think we've played too much towards that family and that trio.
He did get it. Because that face down card is in between both 4s. That has to be a 4. You have a guaranteed 4 of a kind.
Alright, well, we'll have to see. Well, is it a 5 of a kind? I mean, it doesn't hurt to play that last card just in case it is a 4. We'll have to see. If it is a 5 of a kind with 4 hearts, then there is a potential chance. Are we... Okay,
it's a 3.
Alright, we gambled and it paid off tremendously. We just have to hope that we can find that last 4 before the end of the PvP blind here.
$20 from gambling, no other 4, so we have to play that 4 of a kind. See what's scoring us.
No dice, unlike the one in our Joker lineup right now. We do get every hit possible, but it's still not enough. At this point, the 4 of a kind and the 3 of a kind are really just not doing enough here. The one positive... Oh, Magician, hello. The one positive that we do have right now... Ancient Joker.
You have to.
Oh my, that is definitely an interesting pickup here.
We can get some wild cards, probably.
I will say, and we found the Oops All Six on the side of Belnos. I will say though, the one thing that is definitely interesting about all of this is that Jesus can still win this, but the problem is he needs that Ancient Joker to get into those hearts going into it. But I feel like without the deck fixing, Jesus' Joker lineup is never going to be as good as Belnos is. Sell the castle for the Oops All Sixes. I do agree. Definitely your weakest option. Actually, wait, no. I think the Seltzer could have been the better option here since it is going to run out before the next boss blind.
We got a Chad on Jesus. That's the re-triggering we need. It is eternal though, so now we're locked into this setup.
Well, I do
Unless
think
we
at this
get
point,
ectoplasm.
don't have much of a choice. Double skip for Melanos. I see the play now. Melanos wants to hold on to that Seltzer for just one more PvP blind, hoping that Jesus cannot find a big enough boost in power to finish him off right then and there. going into it as well with the Death and the Magician, I think is a great play by him. Having the best tarot cards available right away, can probably just get them onto face cards or anything along those lines, and just get as much as he wants.
The PvP blind is the water, starting with 0 discards. So I'm pretty sure that Seltzer was on one hand. He needs to find his hand immediately on his first draw, getting that Seltzer value.
Heart is pulled on the side of Jesus. It is hearts on the side of Jesus on that ancient Joker. That is exactly what we need here. We essentially get double the Bloodstone triggers. We essentially get Seltzer, but better here. It's like our 10 are guaranteed. But like you said, Balanos just needs to find that Heart Flush early. With that Death and Magician, I think he should be able to find it regardless. There's a high chance for him to pull it.
Mm-hmm. He's looking for a flush, right? A flush?
Pretty much any Heart Flush. Any Heart Flush.
Okay. It should be pretty simple then.
He does not get it!
Wow. That is very, very unlucky.
He doesn't get it even with the Death.
Yeah, there goes the Seltzer.
Seltzer is gone.
Oh,
no, it's on 2. Oh, no,
it's on 3. It was on 3. I can read it. I'm dyslexic.
You like? All right, well,
it's too small. The numbers are small.
All right, well, in that case.
In that case, he definitely wins.
I expect him to win there. We just get the X mult early on, guaranteeing this. We get a flush house as well. There's so much base mult. Though it is at level 0 because of the asteroid, is the lucky 10 maybe a bit better?
I would think the flush house is better because I think he only has like 1 or 2 levels on his flush.
That is true. That is true.
There's chips coming with the flush house.
Alright, we're waiting on Jesus to play his hands, but the issue is for Jesus, seeing the lack of deck fixing and the no discards is going to be really difficult for us to find an optimal hand. So I honestly think that Jesus kind of screwed himself with all of this. We do have the Heart Flush though, so we'll have to see if this is enough. We put a Chariot King just to get essentially what is 1 more Bloodstone or Ancient Joker trigger here. We do get the flat
double.
The flat mult on this is huge, and it is 2.4 million, and I don't think Balanos can catch up to this. We'll have to see. No flat mult on his side, no luck in that regard, and it is nowhere close to Jesus at this point. That Ancient Joker has literally saved his entire run. As we know, getting far into the shop can mean a whole lot here, but hold on. Maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe Balanos can actually beat this with 5 mil. Getting getting the flat.
I'll be right back. Give me like 15 minutes. I'll be right back.
Go right ahead. On the last hand of the Seltzer here, getting the flat mold he needed to get up to that 5 million threshold. And just as I was about to say that Jesus takes this with that Ancient Joker trigger, Balanos immediately puts it right back to him, and I think we're going to see a quick 4-0 unless he can somehow score insane with this, but I do not believe that's going to be enough. No, it is nowhere near close. And as we kept mentioning throughout this game, Jesus banking on that family, even with a lack of deck fixing in this seed in general. We've only seen a death towards that latest boss blind, so the deck fixing just came in too late. We hoped on the family to carry us with the time small, but Balanos just played clean, easy Balatro, getting your chips with the blue Joker, getting your flat mult with the lustful Joker, getting the X mult with the Bloodstone with the Polychrome, having just having a simpler game plan and executing it really well. We like to, maybe some more experienced players like to clown on newer ones for relying on flushes too much, but Balanos just needed to get those flushes going, and Jesus spread himself too thin with those 4 of a kinds, didn't get the Bloodstone triggers that he needed, and Balanos handily wins this and moves on to round 4 with that 4-0. Congrats to him.
Yeah, amazing game. I was tuning into low parts of that, while currently my game against Burb, Currently the score is 3-1 with me winning, but Burb won the last round, and I think I might have screwed up. I don't think I killed him quick enough. And now I think I know what he's running. I tried to go for a lot of X mode by picking up Smiley Face, Hanging Chad, Trio, Loyalty Card, and Conjoined Joker, just to try to kill him as quickly as possible. But I did see a mime in the shop, and there was a shoot the moon. So now I'm scared that, like, I think that's what's happening, and I think I might be cooked. But you know, it is what it is.
Oh boy. Oh wait. That means I can make fun of you again. That's perfect.
Something like that. Something similar.
You know you love me, Heidi. Don't worry about it.
Very much so. Very much.
But yeah, regardless, really happy with how this game turned out. Also, hello Migs joining the commentary booth.
How are you?
Yo.
Hello. Did you tune into that game? Any comments on it aside from me yapping relentlessly?
Kind of joined it kind of late, but one thing I did notice was boss blinds. The boss blinds, you know, they were affecting a lot of it. That's what I noticed mainly.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. Especially for a lot of for a lot of maybe Balatro PvP players that have turned more into PvP mains than PvE. Those boss blinds can really catch you off guard, and as we saw, that water impacted Jesus a whole lot more since he couldn't go for those for that flush five before that he went for earlier, or just those really specific hands that you need those discards to really get even with 5 hands. And unfortunately, it really didn't pay off compared to Balanos's more simple game plan. But we saw it even with the first anti picking up the Bloodstone and right after getting into the boss line that removes your heart, that debuffs your hearts. Both players were forced to go for other jokers, and Balanos once again won that simply due to the blue joker polychrome and just having more powerful base jokers that didn't require him to get Bloodstone procs, and then picking up the Lustful Joker right after to boost that Bloodstone even further with the base molt of the Lustful Joker within the hand. So unfortunately, I do have to
I
ramble
won.
on.
Oh.
Oh shit! Oh, congrats, Idea.
Awesome stuff.
It was very close. So I was correct. He was indeed running a Queen Mime build, or Shoot the Moon Mime, with Card Sharp and Blackboard and okay, yeah. I won it by 6k chips. So, you know, I feel very, 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 cool. Did you forget to enable boss blinds? Get them.
Alright, do you know who we have next for this next match, Hydear?
Let me look it up what the bracket's looking like right now. Let me double check. Let me put this onto a starting student screen while I get it up. So it should be let's see, Balanos versus so Balanos is in the finals right now, is what I'm pretty sure. We're now on my side of the bracket, so it's gonna be me up against, let me check the results.
I did not realize this was only 4 rounds. Fair enough. My mistake.
Here, let me go. I'll go grab the bracket for you.
Appreciate
so
it. I did join a bit midway through, so
yeah, I've literally not that big of an idea either. Most of this is on Nightmare. He organized this, so he should be given the bracket. Right now, it's not filled in. This is the only image I was given. But Balanos has beaten Fraggle. He's beaten Jesus, which places him in the finals, and now it's going to be between me and Nightmare. So,
alright.
That's what the next match is going to be.
Alright, well, I suppose... okay, well, Nightmare probably can't cast
yeah,
this.
Yeah, probably can't cast it. So, Migs, you're up. You're up, gamer.
You're up with me.
Alright. Sounds good.
Yeah, I need it for Nightmare to come back from being AFK so we can play our match.
Or you could just take the free win.
I could. If he doesn't respond in 10 seconds, I take the free win and I go against Balanos. Definitely.
I'm sure. Definitely how it works.
That is 100% how it indeed works. But why does he go AFK as soon as I win my game? Like, this always happens.
I don't. He left like right after the results from the last game was decided. Pretty much, I do not know where he went.
He just said, "I gotta go," and then proceeded to exit frame. He's
Pretty
pulling
much.
like a cartoon character, just runs off edge, floats in midair for a few
Bing.
seconds, and then falls.
Bro
Won't
just
be
went.
surprised.
Ew.
Yup, I think it's exactly like that. Alright, let me see if I can get this working then. I can swap the stream layout to the new one. The only reason why I couldn't do that for the Balatro game is because he hasn't even played a singular ranked match, I don't think. So he
Really?
doesn't exist on the software.
He doesn't exist.
No, he's like a blur. I have no clue.
That is an amusing. That is an amusing little quirk of this new layout, though, is that when we don't have someone on the leaderboard, it just kind of fucks itself.
Oh, it does, and you know, I got to admit, it's quite silly. All right, here,
It
let
is quite
me
silly.
double check some. There's so many people called Nightmare. The people keep copying over people's names, and I'm like, which one's the real one? It's like half the people in the leaderboard are trolling by picking someone else's their name on the Discord. Yeah. Oh, okay, there we go.
Skill is showing you for not knowing the exact MMR of the person you're looking for.
Yeah. It's my bad. My bad, gang. I should have known.
Yeah.
Should have been up to date with it.
Always host's fault. Always host's fault for being the unsung heroes of the stream every time. Always their fault.
Real. Alright, let's see if this works. Let's see if I can just change the scene collect.
Well, not sure about unsung.
Yeah, wait. Yeah. Here, let me ship it. And of course, your name is way too large for what it is. You need to really shorten your name down because it doesn't even fit on the screen. No, it is in fact not. Just don't argue with me, right? We're not gonna have like a couple argument on stream, right? No. Look on the stream. You don't start arguing because you're wrong. Yeah, you've like a bunch of brackets after your actual name. Like you give yourself a nickname after Nightmare, right? Let's not get it twisted, bro. All right, wonderful. Yep, I'll get it set up now. Yeah, please go on deafen. And then send me your link. And his credit card information with the free numbers on the back are... My favorite food is this as well. It's controversial to me. I don't want you guys knowing my favorite food. It's life destroying to me. That's all that matters. And you know, I better hear nothing but good words about you during this stream, Scoped. I want you like glazing my gameplay at every opportunity possible. Alright, I need to change a few of these. Okay. Tails. So do I win? Does that mean I win the game? Do you want to do ghost deck? Yeah, you can pick the stake then. I'll fix it real quick. I've just got to set up some things in the stream. No, do not worry. I just gotta, because I had to change the scene over, so I have to then do this, and then I have to go to here, and you should be able to see it once I do this. And... Alright, let me know if you can see that. Well, no, obviously not you. Okay. Yeah, bro hates me. Bro can't pick something simple. He's bullying a lower MMR. Yippee! Yippee! I'm having so much fun, guys. I can't def myself. I'm just gonna mute my headset.
It's going pretty decent. It's pretty late for me. It's like midnight, but I'm having fun. Just
How would
having
he
fun,
be here?
having fun with this nonsense. If I blast
Yeah,
if I blast the soundboard, will he hear?
Probably not.
It's a good shot. Wait, no, no, wait. Yeah, okay, this
It
fixed.
should be fixed. Okay, I'm deafening.
So, was that was I'm so sorry, chat. That was extremely poorly timed on my end. We were still muted. So I do apologize for the soundboard destroying some of your ears. Anyway, really big divergence though from both players. Super Hydier picking hexing that castle immediately, and Nightmare selling the hex card in order to grab the superposition.
I think,
Interesting choice.
sorry, I was just gonna say, I think Super Hydra did the smarter thing with the hex. I rarely see super. What do you call the turret one? Sorry, I
Superposition.
forgot. Superposition. Yeah, like, I mean, it is definitely a good way, but I just feel like polychrome castle will help you more. It's flat chips slowly, and like 1.5 mult. You can't go wrong with that.
Here's the thing. I don't think that the choice is bad necessarily. Simply because that's passive. That's really unfortunate. Perishable shortcut though. That's an interesting. Stickers are desynced for us a little bit. Hydra picked up the shortcuts without it being perishable, but I actually don't agree with that superposition not having that much value simply because of the fact that tarot card generation in especially in high stakes gameplay is really important. It just means so much potential value in terms of deck fixing that can really help out a whole lot. Getting a devil immediately out of that right after the judgment, giving Nightmare the pacifist. They're gonna have a lot of econ going into this thanks to all of that. We'll have to see when they choose to blow their familiar though.
Yeah, and on top of that, the reason why I say I think the hex was a smarter decision, you have to remember we do have like boss binds on for PvP. So, granted, you might have more deck fixing, but that might be more risky because let's say somebody has like, we get I don't know, maybe the plant for example. Let's say Nightmare is building towards that, and all his face cards are disabled while Super Hider may not necessarily be at that point where he can still play a lot of cards. So it'll kind of side in Super Hider's favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is an unconditional point times 1.5 molten. No matter what happens, you're correct in that regard. No matter the build, it is going to come into play. Nightmare though is making a lot of moves right now, getting both that Sixth Sense as well, getting the Immolate, so getting a lot of money on that reserve parking as well. The only issue is that the pacifist, well, actually the pacifist kind of allows him to get as much value out of the reserve parking as possible. It's actually helping him out a whole lot here. We do see the burglar, Eternal Burglar. I don't think it's quite worth it to pick that up just yet, but that Steel Queen giving the reserve parking is really good. And a purple seal right as well. A lot of just different deck choices on the side of Nightmare. That superposition already got quite a bit of value though. That must have been like what, 3 tarot cards and 2 antis?
Yeah, I think so. It was three tarot cards.
We do pick up the Hollow Drunkard as well, getting that a little bit more flat mold here. I have to see. We get the Emperor, Immolate being pulled as well, and Hunkman right after. So much deck fixing on the side of Nightmare. They're getting rid of like 7 cards in a matter of seconds, really. We'll have to see if it pays off in the end. Though with the pacifist, a lot of essentially a Joker slot being wasted right now, so we might see them just going for the money here with that reserve parking. But Hydier not scoring too well either right now, probably just aiming for that diamond flush here. We'll have to see how well they do.
Yeah.
Oh, Hydier is only getting 600 off of this. The flat mold from the Drunkard is really carrying so far. And Nightmare, it just gets a free win off of that Hollow Drunkard.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of obvious who's gonna win. Just Nightmare. Nightmare has more Jokers overall, and that tarot, the superposition is helping him right now at least. So I think we can see it coming.
It did help him quite a bit before we switched over to that Hollow Drunkard, but interesting choice there as we see the Hanging Chad right after we picked up the Red Seal Jack. So a lot of deck fixing choices to be made on the side of Nightmare there. We do want to keep the reserve parking just because of how much money that is, and we do get the Hanging Chad. The thing is, it is Eternal, and right now most of our hands have been high cards so far, so we'll just have to see if we choose to go for a more retrigger heavy setup with that Hanging Chad, or if we choose to go for the high cards. But right now, we just want to get as much money as possible with that reserve parking and pacifist combo.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of shocked how good Super Hider's economy is. There's the photograph. Looks like we're gonna go for a photograph build, if I'm not wrong.
Well, the photograph is perishable is the issue, so I don't think they want to blow on that just yet. They might want to keep an Econ Joker for the time being, that will be more useful in the long run, or maybe we'll feel that we need more scoring. But yeah, no, the fact that that photograph is perishable is enough to make them skip out on it for now. Unfortunate Ouija there, definitely not the spectral card that you want, but the card sharp also being perishable there, definitely not what you want. Both of those jokers could be really good at giving you direction, but none of them have been able to stay in their lineup so far.
Yeah. I think, just going to that photograph, I think even if something is perishable, it shouldn't be, that much of a turn-off, because at the end of the day, it can still save your life. Even if it's perishable, you can always find another one. It might take a while, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the skipping out on it allows you to find a non-perishable one, definitely. That Wraith could be really interesting, though, on the side of Nightmare, because gotta remember, that Wraith does not take any shop order into account. It's one that your opponent may never see. So if it's something along the lines of an Ancient Joker, and you can pretty much just carry your game outright, although you'd be happy to see a Baron on the side of Nightmare, given how many Steel Kings you already have in your deck, and that Red Steel Jack could easily be turned into a King with a couple of strength. That Hex is going to be bought. The issue is that when there's a Deja Vu as well, Hex is going to
There's a Wrath.
Yeah, the Wraith is gonna be sold right. Is gonna be used right away. I assume we just want to roll down with that baseball card. Unfortunately, we're gonna need to sell everything if we want to buy it, which we are gonna do. And there's a Wraith for the trio. Unfortunate, definitely not what you want to see here. If you're Nightmare, a Baron here could have been a game changer almost immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it feels still pretty good, though. I mean, it'll still give him that 3x. I'm pretty sure Nightmare is playing 5 of a kinds right now. Am I wrong?
I mean, granted, Nightmare has been playing. The thing is, he has gone. They have gone quite a few quite a few Steel Kings, and I assume that Red Seal is going directly onto that King. So a lot of high cards so far, but those Kings can obviously be turned into the 3 of a kinds, the potential with that trio. But Hydiar, on the other hand, has kept that Wraith for now, grabbing the card sharp for the boss blind. So they have a lot of opportunities to just get a lot of scoring there, which just pairs in something of the sort, which he is doing right now, getting another pair on the board right away with the flat mold of the Drunkard that we saw Nightmare use to win their first PvP blind. I think Nightmare just might have the tables turned on them right now.
Yeah, and with Super Hider not using the Wrath right now, I think that might help him later. Since his economy's in the lead for now, he may be able to abuse that just to get further in the shop, and maybe find more jokers that Nightmare couldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. We do get a bit of an econ boost from that Lost Life, but I do agree that it's a lot of Oh, and there's a trading card. Ooh, that trading card is actually doubly good for Nightmare, simply because of 1, deck building, and 2, because it is the first bit of X-Mult he gets out of the baseball card as well. So that trading card is a huge pickup on the side of Nightmare, and we do see Super Hydiar picking it up as well, getting both a boost off the Sixth Sense and the Sixth Sense, the Castle, and the card sharp so far. So it's even better for Hydiar while that card sharp stays in his loadout. We'll have to see so far. Nightmare trying to see if he can one clear this. No, 4,000. It's looking pretty dicey for Nightmare without any clubs to speak of. You have to essentially just get to get as much value of that Gluttonous Joker as you can, and the steel cards that you do have. Reading a little bit for that gold seal. We do have a full house, should be enough to clear. Especially given that red seal steel king should be more than fine.
Yeah. So far, looks like okay. Yeah, but so far I do want to say it looks like Super Hider's gonna win this one, just because the next boss blind at least, because he has a greater advantage with more uncommons. He didn't have to sell everything for the baseball cards, so I think that's why Super Hider might win this next one.
He could definitely put Nightmare on 1 life, that's for certain. We'll have to see. I don't know if that card sharp is going to remain for all of that, though. Deja Vu, that's an amazing pickup on the side of Super Hider here with that 6th Sense. We'll have to see what he decides to put it on, simply because he hasn't built towards much of anything right now, so maybe is going to wait for that Wraith, but we know that Wraith is a trio, so might not be what Hider's looking for here. We'll have to see what happens here. Although you mentioned hexing at the castle at the start is going to help him out, but with that baseball card, it definitely does even further. That just gives more power to his main chips generator, and we're putting that red seal on a gold card. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest disadvantage for Super Hider at this point is probably the perishable card sharp and the hanging Chad, just because hanging Chad's eternal, that deprives him from more like uncommons, you know what I mean? And with card sharp, I don't know how many lives it has left, but
2 left.
he's gonna have to get rid of it.
It will survive another boss blind, and then it'll have to go. Eternal Mail-in Rebate, we did see Nightmare pass up on that earlier. Will Super Hider do the same? He's debating on it. He needs the cash, but the Flintis can be really scary to face off. We did see him skip over the trading card as well, choosing to keep the 6th Sense instead of selling it for the trading card to keep that uncommon boost. So I'll have to see what happens here. I think the thing is, Nightmare, seeing that trio early and now seeing that family as well, picking that up, has a lot more options. I do think that baseball card should be something to go soon. While it does give us flat mold, it only gives us 1.5 off the baseball card here. So I do think it should be sold rather soon. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
Devil,
definitely.
The Devil going to be put on to the red seal, getting just more money out of everything outright. Probably just aiming for queens at this point, and unfortunately getting a misclick on the ace there. Probably wanting to play it earlier. Have to see. We get a 4 of a kind, and not a we get a 5 of a kind if we play that steal, which we won't choose to do. 37k. I don't think they can beat Super Hider off of that. No, Super Hider just has that much more consistent scoring here with the card sharp, with the triple baseball card boost, and the polychrome castle here. So he's just gonna get this for free. I do not see, like just like you mentioned, yeah, Nightmare's gonna find themselves on a 1 life going into the next boss blind, and if they can't find a really strong burst of power here, they might just lose the game outright. But card sharp is on 1 life. The question becomes, does Hider take the risk to skip everything to conserve that card sharp until the next boss blind? But that Eternal Family might make him consider otherwise, and he does pull the trigger on that.
I think that might have been the death of Super Hider. If Nightmare can survive the next boss blind, which, let's be honest, Nightmare probably will. I don't know, it's just looking pretty grim. And the plant is up next, if I did not see that wrong.
The plant is up next, you are correct, but the thing is that card sharp was going to perish soon no matter what, so I think it's a decent play regardless. A lot of steal from Super High here was on face cards after all, so that plant is going to be really detrimental for him. So playing towards the future of that boss blind is not necessarily a bad play in my eyes, but we'll have to see how the tables turn overall. That Grim is being hovered, especially considering that plant. I would not be surprised to see it kept until then. My apologies. The Devil going to be used once again for one more gold card. Temperance for more money as well, getting back up the money that we lost while chickening out of that Wraith play.
Yeah, I think that was smart on Super Hider because I think that was just bringing him down. But honestly, I feel like in the end he'll overcome that.
Yeah, he can absolutely get his econ back up. Well, right now, counting that gold card, he gets back up to $25 interest anyway. We do see another Steel Queen as well. He is dying for that Shoot the Moon or Baron right now, that's for certain. Ouija going to be immediately sold, not wanting to risk that on anything, which I fully agree with. Ouija is like almost never really a good play. But regardless, Nightmare, both these players just investing a lot in just steel and gold overall, a lot of in-hand plays, even though we have an Eternal Family, which I think is pretty interesting. It's an interesting dichotomy. I wonder what's going to happen next. Paradolia into the plant. Definitely not what you want to see.
It'd be funny if somebody took that without realizing the next boss blind. I'm just saying.
Well, we are in PvP after all, so it is. Well, granted, we don't have anything that combos well with Paradolia, so there shouldn't be a lot of incentive to pick that up. But Invisible Joker now on both sides, that could be a game changer.
That's life or death. Oh, I think Super Hydra did the better thing with skipping it because it's too risky. There's just so much that could go wrong. I think Onyx might be a no-brainer. That's just free mult, especially with the plant.
The plant and it also replaces the Sixth Sense for the baseball card. It's another uncommon that gets added on top of that. So yeah, if Super Hydra can just get one clean club flush in there, or just more four of a kinds, could definitely be enough to clear overall. But one reroll later is the Brainstorm. Granted, Super Hydra should see that the next shop. I'm hoping so, at least. Would definitely be quite unfortunate, but that Brainstorm might favor Nightmare even further here, considering that he's been playing for those four of a kinds for longer.
Yeah, but are those four of a kinds for face cards, or are they for just number cards?
I do believe that they're for face cards is the issue. You're correct in point. Great job pointing that out as well. A lot of those four of a kinds are all face cards, so it's going to be difficult for that to find value compared to, for example, the Onyx Agate that we mentioned earlier.
I think Nightmare, actually, I think I see what Nightmare might do. He's going to try, or they are going to try to do the Ouija, which, it might turn out to be face cards, but if it's numbers, then it'll definitely favor Nightmare.
That's for certain. The issue is that you're kind of destroying your whole build for it, but considering that you're on one life, it is a potential panic button that you might need to pull in an emergency to get a 5 of a kind really easily to clear that boss blind. It really depends on what Hydier can pull out here, but we do see the Moon being in there as well, but Hermit is going to be chosen first, and then potentially the Moon, and to get more clubs for that Onyx Agate, sorry.
You're good. Yeah, skip. I'm just wondering who's gonna win this one. It's anyone's game. If Nightmare's Ouija doesn't hit numbers, which I'm pretty sure Nightmare's gonna try to do, then that might be game over. A pretty fast finals.
The issue, it is semis. It is semis.
Oh, my bad.
No worries. The other opponent is winning finals, so that's absolutely understandable mistake. But either way, Hydier is facing with quite the issue here. He has 2 Eternals that he would have wanted to keep anyway, but you can't really scrape that Brainstorm. But what you get rid of, that baseball card gives you so much X mult and the 10 flat mult. The Onyx Agate is your newest source of flat mult, but it is perishable, and the castle is your main source of chips and is also polychrome.
I think it's just better just to skip it. I don't think it's worth it.
I am admittedly not sure here. I think both plays are good. I think either selling the Onyx Agate for it, seeing as we already have the base mold off the baseball card, or skipping it outright, seeing as it is perishable as well.
Yeah, well, if you... Oh, yeah.
There it is. One of the two only possible plays Hydier chose to sell for that Lover's card. Hello. Going to be useful for a potential flush as well, or a castle trigger, choosing to roll down as much as he can before the boss blind, and let's see what both of these players are able to pull off here.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see who will win this, because both of their decks were built towards face cards, you know? But at least after this, they won't have to worry about the plant anymore.
Pretty much, just as every single PvE Balatro player, they can breathe a sigh of relief once the plant is entirely gone from their screens. But Nightmare, unfortunately, not having much of a not having that high a score just yet, does get 38k off of that 4 of a kind though. Pretty insane pull on their side, but we do see a 4 of a kind on the set of Super Hydier now as well. We'll have to see if it's more than what he can pull, than what Nightmare can pull off here. 38k, and we do still have the Ouija that we mentioned for that free 5 of a kind.
Yeah, it just boils down to if it hits face cards, and granted it'll still hit a chunk of change for scoring, but it might still be the death of Nightmare, you know?
Yeah, we'll have to see what the... granted, it also depends simply on how stacked that castle is as well. I'm not sure exactly how stacked it is. Ooh, interesting. Are we going for Flush House here?
I think we are.
Yeah, but you need to keep that 4 of a kind for the sake of the family here. I don't think there's a world where you just ignore that. We're calculating what's better between baseball card, Flush House, and a family 4 of a kind. We're definitely gonna have to pull the trigger on that Ouija on the side of Nightmare after Super Hydier pulls. Oh, that column, that castle is never gonna be higher. Yeah, it's never. It is always coupling the family. Let's see here, folks. That is 60k on the side of Super Hydier for a total of 80k. It is definitely necessary for Nightmare to pull the trigger on that Ouija. Oh, what are we choosing to do here? Are we choosing to play the high card first? I do believe we need to play the Ouija first and foremost. That's our only shot. We need as high of a hand as we can. Granted, 5 of a kind is a lot of base molt.
Or you could also do 4 of a kind twice.
The thing is, it's Ouija that gives you -1 hand size is the thing, but it doesn't trigger immediately. So getting 4 of a kinds could definitely be better. Let's see, it's 5 of a kind. Oh, 5 of a kind clears. All right, we're good.
That was pretty shocking.
Granted, you gotta remember we do have 4 times 4 plus 25 molt times 3 times 4. That is a lot of times molt that is played on the side of Nightmare compared to Super Hydier. And now we are 2 lives to 1 going into here, but both of these players, Brainstorm is going to run out really soon unless some blinds are skipped to make sure we keep that source of power.
Yeah, definitely. I think Nightmare might actually have a chance after that. The only problem was that did take down a few, you know, what's the word? A few face cards. But I think the better option here, if you can find Cloud9, that might be the option to go to.
It would definitely be an interesting option, that's for sure. But it would be pretty much your best econ joker for a while, that's for certain. The moon and the tower, I believe, being pulled on the side of Super Hydier with all of those. But what I'm seeing here is that Super Hydier has a Flush 5 available.
Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he?
That is insane, frankly. I did not expect that to happen so soon, but that's a lot of just base molt outright. 4 of a kind might be privileged just for the sake of getting that red seal gold, but you also gotta consider that it unlocks Flush 5 for potential heiresses. as well. So it's up to Super Idear to decide what he prefers between unlocking irises, sorry, or getting the six necessary to get above the $25 threshold, and he will choose to go for those $25.
Yeah,
You see-
I think that was the best choice he could have done, honestly.
Yeah, just getting as much money as possible to roll with before the end. And we do see Nightmare skipping that big blind in order to make sure their brainstorm stays before the next PvP blind. And they kind of need to. That's the biggest source of power that they have so far. Whereas Hydear can still play around with his build a little bit. And even now, getting more moons, getting more resources at the ready for the sake of that flush fight that we were talking about earlier, making it more consistent might just be his ticket to winning this game.
Yeah, and again, it just boils down to, I think, if Super Hider is going to sell his brainstorm, because that brainstorm might, it can offer a lot, but when you sell it, there's a lot more opportunity to give. It just boils down to what you see.
Pretty much. And considering the fact that we have a lot more of those red seals copied on the side of Hydear as well, anything that triggers in your hand, we wish we had that Onyx Agate again, seeing the amount of flat mold it would give us by this point. But yeah, having that red seal jack being copied in that flush 5 means that anything that triggers in your hand, such as an ancient joker, could be absolutely massive here, depending on what is chosen.
Yeah. Sorry, I just don't know what to say.
There is. Two more jacks being turned into clubs, so now that flush 5 is even more consistent. At this point, I do believe it is worth it to unlock it. Just get the heiresses out of the way, and it is what's going to be used for. Just getting the flat mold really early on for all the X mold that we do have. You gotta remember, Hydear as well picked up that brainstorm later than Nightmare did, so gonna have a few more rounds to play around with compared to Nightmare. Offensive Joker, none of this is really useful, unfortunately. We just have to keep holding. That trance could be pretty useful as well for the heiress that we mentioned earlier. Will we see a huge roll down on the side of Hydear?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see who wins, especially with the boss blind first hands face down. I wonder what would be the ideal strategy,
For both of these players, it's definitely just going as low as possible and trying to suss out what you have in your hand from here. We do see two purple seals, and the Empress allows us to see that it is not anything really that interesting. It's just another queen, so we can absolutely get rid of everything else. The Chariot and the Lovers also allow us to get to see more of our hand here. Unfortunately, I did not have the time to see what that was, unfortunately. And yeah, Super Hydear gonna turn his game speed to 05 just so he can make sure to see what it is. That is a queen. Everything here is not jacks except for those two that are face up, so everything else will go to the discard pile or just as a hand played. So far, Nightmare digging a little bit for those nines again, doing the same trick to see if any of those are nines, and it looks like it is. It is not actually, never mind, it is a 10, so 4 of a kind is going to be used. That's 220k. Is that enough to clear the flush 5 that Hydear can potentially get with that last discard? We'll have to see.
I think it will be, honestly. I mean, I don't see what else could happen. Oh?
We don't get the flush 5 on the side of Super Hydear. We only get that 4 of a kind. With that seal, it'll not be enough to clear. I don't think it will. So Nightmare should be able to get one more life out of Hydear before the final showdown.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a pretty fast round, but it's always those ones where it's that comeback, It puts you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, Nightmare has just been able to get every inch of that brainstorm. Never mind. Hydear getting all the way with that 4 of a kind to 272k. So even without that flush 5, just having that much base molt, that much times molt. So Nightmare now pretty much has to hope for a 4 of a kind here. And they do pull it! They do pull that 4 of a kind. The insane luck of the draw here, and it should be enough to clear that boss blind. We're getting a final showdown, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, that is kind of crazy. I mean, not trying to be biased, but I was rooting for Super Hider to win here. You know, just get it over with.
No, absolutely understandable. Definitely a crazy game, but Nightmare having absolute luck of the draw here, having to skip everything in order to get that, to keep that brainstorm. And will Hydier choose to do the same? He is only at 1 round remaining, and we
And
will
they do. Oh
skip,
my god.
see the skips
Let's
back
go.
to back the PvP blinds, ladies and gentlemen. With both of those brainstorms at 1, it was needed to do. Unfortunate star, but we do see a death on that red seal jack of that red seal steel jack. That could make the difference.
The interesting thing about this blind is it's basically just multiplayer Balatro because there's no coming back after this. There's no more lives, so we have our red. Granted, it's the tooth, but money doesn't matter anymore. It's just who can get a better hand.
You're absolutely right. This is essentially money doesn't matter by this point, so we're just playing essentially random, like the classic PvP Balatro. But a lot of hands being played already on the side of Nightmare. We are going hard for that 5 of a kind. We'll have to see how much is scored in the end. That's a lot of mold as well. That is 600k. Will that flush 5 be enough? Honestly, that might depend on how much steel is on the board. There is going to be a single red seal, I do believe. So we'll just have to see if that's enough. We want, Hydier, we want to see that second mold in the front for the hanging chad. That's a bit less. Base mold should not matter too much in the grand scheme of things. And that 1 mil is going to be enough. That flush 5 clears Nightmare 600k. Finally able to get the hand he wanted and getting into the finals off of that. Congratulations to both of those players. Great plays with the brainstorm, getting those skips, but Hydier getting it later, just allowing him to scale that little bit more, getting that flush 5 a bit more constant, and that just means getting that flush 5 at that last draw with that red seal steel, having more than enough gas in the tank to clear Nightmare off of that last boss blind.
Yeah, no, that was a very, very stressful game right there. I got to admit, I went down the last life. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so cooked. What does my guy have? Like, I thought I was.
I thought I had you at the end.
For so long.
I will say, Nightmare, that was an insane luck of the draw. That second to last.
Real, yeah.
Boss blind. You needed that 4 of a kind to survive. You pull 3 cards. All of them are the ones that you need for that 4 of a kind.
I should not have won that one. I'm not gonna lie.
That was
The fact I made it. The fact I got that life off of you, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I made it down. I was like, my brainstorm is for the pop. I have to skip here. Like, I don't really have a choice. I'm not gonna be able to find anything better than a brainstorm.
Did you see what I had?
No, it's glitched on my screen.
It was the family, the trio, Chad, brainstorm, and foiled up tarot merchant.
Ooh.
It's
Spicy.
wait, I'm
The whatever it is.
fortune teller.
Fortune teller.
Yeah, I just stuck with the baseball card and castle combo. I just stuck with that. I never got rid of them.
That was probably the play.
You just hexed the castle at the start and just kept it rolling, honestly. I will say, I was a bit shocked to see you skip on that trading card though. Instead of 6 cents.
It was a trading card?
You missed. You missed that. Oops.
Oh, I didn't even cop it. I was just too busy looking for something more important than a trading card.
Alright, because you had trading card. You could have gone trading cards at a 6 cents and just got
yeah,
a bit
but
more
like I didn't get enough
animals.
value to 6 cents yet. I'm very sure since I kept the 6 cents, I found a deja vu.
It was after deja vu.
Oh, was it after I found the deja vu?
Yes.
Oh, then yeah, I probably should have got rid of it.
Alright, fair enough. It happens.
Whatever.
Alright, I do believe we will have Rockle on the cast for the finals. We'll have. So it is Super Hydier versus
Belanos Bear.
thank you. My brain is not deciding to function at maximum capacity right now. It's either yapping or thinking, and right now, it's in full yapping mode.
I got you.
Understandable.
I'll be in here. I'll be muted though if Rokel does come.
You know, let's get him in here, gang. Let's get him in
Sh-
here.
Should be fine. Should be fine to get us in here. Yeah, he's
I
hopping
can't
in.
believe it, guys. I'm winning games. This is this is a rare thing.
Huge.
I better get cooked out because I didn't know we were doing like boss blind stakes. I'm a little bit confused. Like, what do you mean I have to do a boss blind on my PvP blind at the same time? This is wrong.
That's gonna be this weekly tournament. This next weekly tournament.
Really?
Lava
I've
said.
been really practicing.
The funniest part that Migs mentioned is that last boss blind was essentially just regular old ass PvP Balatro because money
Yeah.
wouldn't matter afterwards.
Let me.
But yeah, some of the boss blinds have been a lot more of a hindrance than others because we've seen, for example, the water has been a big hindrance for a lot of players, especially those that are aiming for a specific kind of hand to win these boss blinds. Like for example, Hydier with that flush 5 is a big example of that, where a lack of discards can absolutely just destroy you in those PvP blinds. Also, hello Rockle.
Hello.
Hello, Rockle.
More interesting games. I'm excited to see us practicing the PvP tournament format for this weekend.
Well, you're right on time for finals, my friend, and it includes our buddy, old pal, Super Hydier.
The closest he's ever gotten to stardom? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. He
This
managed
could be his first ever tournament win.
I'm not sure this one counts. I'm not sure this one counts.
Hey, a tournament win is a tournament win. That's what matters here, even if in your own team. Anyway,
We take these. That's what it is.
Regardless,
Mhm,
we take
mhm.
these. But yeah, you missed quite the game between Nightmare and Hydier. A lot of ups and downs on both sides. Both players going for a little bit of a baseball card play. Nightmare quickly turning away from it in favor of a trio and family combo. Both players having to skip quite a few blinds to keep a perishable brainstorm on deck for the PvP blinds was quite the thing. And you also missed Nightmare winning a PvP blind by drawing 3 of the same cards to make it 4 of a kind to save themselves. It was quite the show.
I got the end of those. I think right up from that Ouija play. Crazy stuff. I want to point out. I think Nightmare would have won if Nightmare had been able to pick up the paintbrush and had been able to draw their red seal steel, because they would have been able to play a 5 of a kind with 2 red seal steels because they smuggled in that death. So that was the angle.
Looking for that.
And I believed in it.
I'm fine
I
with
believed in it very hard because Super's still up to his shenanigans of believing in a baseball card for way too long.
A baseball
card with 1 uncommon on your deck. It's
I
crazy.
couldn't find anything better, right? Don't
Okay,
just baseball
You didn't
card.
find
There was nothing
anything
better.
better than Polychrome Castle. You didn't find anything. Hey, it worked. All right, when you're playing that high of a stake requirement, chips jokers actually do work. That is how it is.
Mhm.
Absolutely, but even then, like, in all fairness, the baseball card carried a lot earlier in the game, simply because he had, correct me if I'm wrong, Hydier, you had both Castle, Card Sharp, and Sixth Sense at one
Yeah,
point, so
at
it
one
was
point
a lot
I
of
did
work.
have, was it 4 uncommons? Or
Yeah,
3?
4.
Okay, well then at that point it's about a 4x multiplier. So
Okay, let me just, I have to set
And maybe a
this
bit.
up.
Thanks.
I have to
I
set
do
this
believe
up
it's
a very
slightly more.
strange way because Balanos doesn't actually have
Yeah, they
tournament
have
count,
not-
so I have to
They have
manually
not
put
played
in
a
his name.
single rank. Yeah, they have not played a single rank game, so we're back to the old layouts for
I
a bit.
think I'm able to just change it. I might just be able to do that.
So that would be quite nice.
they haven't
of
played
you.
a single ranked game,
Yep,
and
not
they're
a
on
single
the Lemon
ranked.
Legends.
Not on the main server.
But they're in
I
finals.
see.
Well, yes, they're a streamer. They only know how to stream.
Oh yeah, no, I see. Never mind. Forgot who we were talking about for a second. I was like, we're onboarding strangers into the Lemon Legends team.
What's his name again? Balanos?
Bear.
Balanos Bear. Alright, understandable.
Yeah.
Lost Bear. I
Got
will Really quickly, before the game starts, I will go and grab some water because my throat is slightly dying, as they say. So I will
Real.
be right back.
Totally understand.
Water sounds well deserved for that, and like Scope was saying when I joined, I think the water is a real threat for a lot of people in the coming up weekly tournament.
That was a
These
crazy
boss fights
transition.
enabled.
That was a crazy
That's what I do
transition.
here. That's what I do here, Nightmare. That's why they keep me around. Okay.
That was crazy.
I keep him around because he pays my bills for me.
These are where you get the big bucks. All right, take notes. Take notes. But
I got
a
you.
lot of boss plans that could explicitly hinder a lot of meta relevant play just for PvP explicitly. Of course, you've got the plant. I believe we had to witness that. That stopped Nightmare right in their tracks from playing their already built towards face cards deck. They had to take a Ouija to even try and stay in the game because of the plant. So if you don't have ways to surmount these boss blinds in the next weekly tournament, you might find yourself a short loss.
Bro's gonna probably force me to
Other-
gold stake. I'm so screwed.
I'm cool with seeing gold from. I don't know how I feel totally about like the stakes being required to ban and pick for the games, because a lot of people just push you towards one person wants to go gold, one person wants to go white, and then you just handshake in the middle at black stakes. And I gotta say,
Yeah.
black stakes isn't like the most unenjoyable thing. At least you're not playing with blue stakes and above with that discard taken away. But like, you know, I don't think it adds a whole lot, and I think in fact I've been able to scam a couple of people because I know how to play on higher stakes, and I don't really think PvP's that big of a judgment on like your gold stakes gameplay. I think it's more of a PvP centric focused skill set. Like tarot cards are already really good in main Balatro, in main gold stakes Balatro play. They're very, very good. Deck building's already very, very good, obviously. But in PvP, something that can get you a tarot card, like, superposition, which is perhaps the worst tarot generator in the game, could conceivably be kept by top players for like 3 antes because it's their only tarot generation. You wouldn't see that in gold stakes gameplay.
Yeah, funny how you mentioned that, considering that Nightmare had indeed kept superposition for like more than 1 NT, I believe, last game.
Crazy.
Like, at the start. But that's not
Crazy.
too surprising. Simply because
Burb is saying in chat that 8-ball is way worse, and that's just incorrect. I'm sorry to say it. You can play with just a basic deck. You can play 2 8-ball pairs per round as your throwaway hands. You're really always only going for 1 big hand, except for like maybe at the very, very beginning of the games. But even then, playing a pair of 8s is still decent. All you have to do to get the same expected value as superposition, which is making a much harder hand with 8-ball, is play 4 8s. It can miss, obviously, but the EV on 8-ball is a lot better than the EV on superposition. I have to point it out. There's a lot of slander around 8-ball, and I'm not the biggest 8-ball fan. I'm not the biggest 8-ball lover in the entire world. I just gotta say, Dusty Crumples has a point when he says prioritize keeping 8s in your deck over keeping hackable cards in your deck,
I will also say in favor of 8-ball that it also combos a lot with common jokers in PvP, such as re-triggers, such as the dice, for example. Both of those are seen a lot in just regular builds and Bloodstone builds specifically. So they do have synergy that superposition does not quite have. The more you deck build, the less superposition becomes valuable. The more powerful
Absolutely.
you become, the more
That's probably-
powerful 8-ball can become.
That's the biggest point that kills superposition for me, is that you want to deck build away from the superposition condition, because deck building for straights just looks like destroying every card in your deck except for your straight hand,
Pretty much, that's for sure. I will say though, a little interesting conversation topic to have, and that will probably repeat on the weekly tournament, but that way I do get your opinion early. What specific, because I do have my opinion on this, so I want to hear what yours is. What's your opinion on the most dangerous boss blinds in this game mode compared to PvE Balatro in general?
So obviously the cliche answer here, and I think the one that comes to everybody's mind first, is the plant is probably going to be super dangerous for most players, because the best builds in Balatro PvP revolve specifically around playing face cards. People always want to bias towards a Baron if you're playing post-hand, in-hand play. or if they're playing towards retrigger, they want to bias towards face cards for the photograph angle. Plant kills both of those. Can't get Baron value, can't get retriggered face card photograph value, right? That's obviously an incredibly dangerous one. If one player is building towards, just like a regular 5 of a kind of a non-face card, and the other player is building towards a face card and the plant comes up, the face card player, if it comes up at the wrong time, just loses the game, right? I think more specifically, perhaps one of the most dangerous PvP blinds that people aren't going to think about until it hits them is, and I'm forgetting the name of it, like the exact name of it, but it's the one that takes away all of your money if you play your most played hand.
The Tooth. No, not the Tooth.
Is
it
I don't think it's the Tooth.
No, it's the Ox. It's the Ox.
The Ox. The Ox is incredibly dangerous in this format. Most players do roll down quite a bit at the PvP blind, but it's usually only when you're at a disadvantage. The Ox can absolutely kill a player who's in the lead by taking away all of their money. If you go in with $80 like you regularly would, it could completely destroy your chances, or it could force you to have to get ahead in the shop and burn so much money. If you were relying on something like Money Tree or Seed Money as your primary econ, and I've been in those games, they're rare, but I've been in those games, all right? If you were relying on something like that, it's completely wiped out, right? Or if you would already had your strongest hand built, and you're maybe still fighting an opponent who has like 2 lives left, and you don't have any econ generation jokers left, Ox can murder you. Obviously, there's stuff like the Waters, there's stuff like the Head that can just destroy build types. I think the Waters is going to piss off everyone on the Orange Obelisk specifically, because they all love fucking purple seals.
That's valid. But yeah, I do agree with you on the Head, especially the Head, simply because we're so used to seeing PvP players just spam Sun cards whenever they can. Whenever they can, they just want Sun cards whenever. And I feel like that can easily punish them if they're not too careful. The Ox can be countered, I believe, if you just...
It can, yeah.
If you spread your rerolls across all 3 shops, you don't lose too much money for it, and you still get ahead in the boss or in the shop order. So I do believe it is counterable this way. But what I'm interested in seeing is that we see probably the most common deck for Gold Stake being used in PvP in said Gold Stake.
Exactly, yeah, yellow deck on the yellow stake, perhaps some would say gold is somewhat yellow colored. Cat's on my screen from Super Hider here. I still don't understand the Arcana pack texture pack.
I am afraid that if I say the name of this creature, I will summon an angry mob, so I will not say it. Regardless, the immediate pickup of the Roth Gem rental can easily be just used for possibly one round and immediately sold out of. So not too bad of a pickup. We are considering that Cloud9. Gotta remember, we are on the base the base deck, so it is going to be just $4. But it is only 2 rounds to get your money back, and on Gold Stake, you might consider delayed gratification to be a bit too risky, both players having the exact same Joker lineup going into the next blind.
I'm honestly a big hater of the Cloud9. I'm not up on it, not very high on my opinion of Cloud9. I think $4 post round, not very good. I think even perhaps I would take a delayed gratification over a Cloud9. I do like the rental uncut gems, rough gem. That's what it's called.
Rough gem.
Yeah, I like the take of it. I think it's very sad that both players found it within that buffoon pack. Just like Phantom says sometimes, buffoon pack can be a trap. Usually in the very early game, opening buffoon packs is a great idea because it gets you jokers for cheaper than you often would get them, and you don't have to risk rolling into 2 super powerful jokers. But here, since it's a rental, there's no plus EV on this.
I was really scared of that for Super High here. I thought they was generally chance of death, but we're fine. We do see a hologram, rental hologram, in fact. Gotta be careful. That hat can block the rental sticker. It has happened to a lot of players before, but I will say this is one of those. Oh well, it's already gone. But one of those jokers that can absolutely save you in those Gold Stake matches where PvE blinds are going to matter a lot, and you need some X-Mult really early on.
Ooh.
Eternal Mime now there is an option.
That is something Very, very nice. Bolanos not going to see it until much later in the game. Mime isn't going to help us out too much early game until we get those chariots online for our power. But I do like the Mime play. I do like taking the Eternal Mime here. One of the only cards in the game that I'd say having it Eternal is probably a good thing, actually, because that means that you could potentially onk, other stuff around it.
I actually do believe Onk only does it only prioritize Eternals if they're available?
If there are multiple Eternals, it can't destroy Eternals, right? So what I would say here is that if you have like an Eternal Mime and you also pick up an Eternal Baron, then you still get full Onk value.
Oh, okay, in that sense. Okay. I do see what you mean.
So you do need another Eternal as well. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but regardless, what I do also agree with is that Mime is almost always useful. If it is always going to be additional scoring, it is always going to be with steel, because you always have at least like one steel card in your deck. With those PvP games, you're always going to have gold cards. It's always going to be some form of additional value for no real cost. Obviously, if you're running a retrigger heavy deck, it's going to be maybe a bit less value than something like retrigger or just an overall X-Mult Joker, but it is never going to be completely useless for a specific value. And we do see Balanos Bear seeing that Mime a bit later and debating on it a little bit.
Something that requires no debate here is the rental hallucination. That's just free expected EV. And in this pack, Balanos Bear seems to be ahead on the tarot queue, finding a chariot in that pack. I don't think Super Hider saw the chariot there. Which is
I do not believe that they have either. I will say though, something for Belnos Bear to point out is that you're right. The rental hallucination, seeing as rentals, same as credit card, are bought at $1, sold at $1. You can just buy that hallucination, buy the packs, and then immediately sell it for free value. And there's a free magician, exactly
completely free. About. Completely free. That's the money shot that top level players will see here. It's a completely free tarot card. That tarot card materialized out of thin air. It did not exist in the world before, and it will not exist after. Balanos also has to spring for that Eternal Mime, going down to $0 here before the big blind, where you... Oh wow, skipping for the standard pack too. That's an interesting play. With the hologram, it's the correct thing to do, yeah. But really interesting.
Definitely definitely interesting. We do get a purple seal and a gold seal out of it, but considering how low we are on econ, I suppose I can see the idea behind it. Not exactly sure if I fully agree. Skipping for a standard pack is something that a lot of players wouldn't consider to do. Granted, we do have the hologram, so that those cards are also power. But here's the thing about hologram in general, and why a lot of PvP players are not too fond of it compared to PvE players, is because in order to gain power, you have to dilute your deck in some way to make the Joker itself more powerful. And we mentioned earlier, deck building in Balatro is king. In Balatro PvP, it is king. It is nothing. It is pretty much doesn't come close to any other factor aside from raw powerful Jokers. So we'll have to see if that doesn't come up to bite Belanos if he's trying to get more precise hands later down the line.
Yep, and we see our first chariot on Super Hider's deck from that new Arcana pack. If I was a Super Hider, I would have heavily considered taking that Tarot Merchant voucher, especially when you're trying to build towards Mime. You really do need to find chariots and deaths and fools as fast as possible. This boss blind, is this the flag?
It is the house.
The house, right. The house. First hand drawn face down. Not too big of an issue. I think it's brother boss blind, the one that after every played hand has face down hands. I think that could also be a killer, so look out for that in the PvP tournament this weekend.
The fish is what you're looking for. But I do agree with the fish being a really big killer here. We're so used to in PvP to use the hands as additional discards for very nice flat mold there. That might just have just won Belanos the round there, depending on. I
think it probably will have. Yeah. Belanos really does seem to have a better handle and scoring just from the flat mold and the X mold of Hollow here. I think Super Hider's plan to just go for money from that rough gem is probably the better play, and I think the fact that Belanos Bear only has that Cloud 9 for econ and cannot get more money during these like played blinds is really gonna have a damping effect on the econ run.
Gotta remember, we sold that Rose Gem for the sake of the Eternal Mime, so we were hoping to get value out of that Eternal Mime soon in order to get any form of value out of it, but as we do see, Hyder loses that first PvP blind here, but he comes out with $38 to 10, and that's nothing short of an incredible difference.
Absolutely. This is something that you got to consider in PvP. Losing a life gives you quite a bit of capital to play with. Actually, you get $5, I think, for your first life loss. You get $10 for the next one. What was? Eternal rental. Shoot the moon
with the mime.
Oh, that's a really difficult decision to make. I think if I'm super high tier, I have one chariot card on a jack right now. That Shoot the Moon's going to burn a hole in my pocket. I've already got one rental right now for my econ. I can definitely play towards the Shoot the Moon in the short term, but since I just lost that first PvP blind, my short-term play is going to have to go at least 4 more PvP blinds, and I don't know if I could do that off of a rental Eternal Shoot the Moon.
It is going to be skipped. The Swashbuckler was maybe my only option in terms of a potential sells for that, considering one of our cards is perishable and the other is a rental. That Swashbuckler is starving right now, but aside from that, that just the fact that is eternal makes it extremely hard to really play towards a quote unquote a mid-tier joker such as Shoot the Moon, whereas something like, for example, a Mime has a lot of potential late game. Shoot the Moon is going to cap out the moment that flat mold becomes essentially a non-issue.
Exactly. I am still very concerned about Balatro's econ situation here. We managed to produce a little bit more money from that small blind shop, and a little bit more even after that small blind. You don't get the prize money for defeating the small blind, since we are and gold stakes. That's actually the first one to go. That's I think from red stakes, yeah?
Yes.
So being anywhere higher than white stakes, you have to really disincentivize like small blinds. You have to put them at a lower tier in your mind, because you just straight up don't get as much money from beating them, right?
Yeah, unless you can get like a really big value off of the round itself, such as, for example, mail-in rebate, reserve parking, anything of the sort. That's why skipping the small blind in PvP with the order now out is a valid option if it's something along the lines of either a really big econ a really big econ tag, or for example a rare tag. Those two could potentially be an option if you don't expect to gain a lot of value out of the small blind.
I agree completely. I'm a little bit concerned for Super Hyder's scoring here. He should be able to win with this 4 of a kind. Nope, it'll be a 5 of a kind now, too. That's the Fool. Another death as well. Super Hyder still hasn't been able to fix the deck towards this Mime as much as Bolanos Bear has. Bolanos has a blue seal. Bolanos has a steel card. Super Hyder hasn't seen this steel jack appear, hasn't been able to death it up, and isn't really playing towards any other type of style. We're just carrying around these tiny flat mult jokers like Even Steven, and that Swashbuckler that you pointed out a little bit ago was starving.
And it still is. We do get another chariot card on the board, but the thing is, skipping on Shoot the Moon, sure, it is eternal, it is something, it is rental, it's a lot, but at this point we have gained 0 power from the last time, so Belanos should just be able to once again easily get the clear off Pydir and get him down to 2 lives by this point.
Absolutely, and at that point your long-term play prospects really have to be coming to roost. If they're not like starting to make you win PvP blinds by the time you're down 2 lives, you really have to be confident in your like deck building long term, you know? If I'm Super Hyder, I don't think I'm there yet. I picked up that Tarot Merchant to maybe get more deaths, maybe get more Fools, maybe get more Chariots, and it's paying off a little bit, right? I've got 2 steals in my deck now. I've carried a death for a while to get even more of them, but they just don't seem to be showing up for Super Hyder. after I see the score in this PvP blind, I think I'll be a little bit worried.
We'll have to see. The Flint, it'll be a bit biased simply because of the Flint being a thing, but regardless, yeah, we'll have to see what ends up coming out of this PvP blind. But yeah, those jacks have just not been showing on the side of Hide here. Even, granted, we do have a death in our inventory right now, so it will be much easier to make that 5 of a kind for next time. We do have quite a few, we do have 2 very nice steel cards there. But we use a jack. Interesting, we're not...
Was that a jack? I don't think that was a jack. I think that was a queen, right?
Oh, that might have... Okay, I might be blind, in which case. But regardless, death being used for another steel card, so that is a flush 5 plus 2 steel. Plus 4 steel, giving the mime. I think that should be more than enough to clear Balanos' score.
Should be. What I would probably want to see from Super here before we put this in is to sell the rough gem, since it's going to take us below our econ threshold if we keep it on. And I think we're done farming our diamonds cards.
He is considering it, eyeing up those diamonds there. I would not be surprised to see a sell here. Indeed, we've been playing towards that rough gem for a while. Cloud9 is still giving us some money. I don't know about that one.
$3, not giving us a whole lot. Technically, you could think of Cloud9 as your offset for small blinds, right? You could think of it in that way, because I guess it is giving you money when you do play the small blind. You could think of it as just adding back that win reward if you still get the 4 9s. But I personally don't think that's super duper helpful to think about. Let's talk about the boss blind for a second here. In standard gold stakes play, oh wow, and Balanos doesn't manage to win this time. Super Hider takes it simply because he had more steals in hand.
Yeah, the flush 5 into double steel was more than enough, and Blackboard could actually be an interesting play here because we're playing towards clubs right now.
Blackboard...
never mind, that's hearts. Never mind, I'm stupid.
It's very... I think it's interesting. I think it could technically be worth it to take an Eternal Blackboard, but you wouldn't probably catch me doing it.
No,
especially when I've already built towards hearts.
I thought we were building towards clubs simply because I'm not used to the Bugsnax pack at all, so I thought those were clubs for some reason, so never mind. I do fully agree with just skipping it on that altogether, grabbing the perishable fortune teller and perishable business card foil. That's also a good option. A lot of potential cash off of that, and the fortune teller is a pretty cheap but still decent way to up your scoring at least a little bit. I should probably just play that flush 5 here simply to get enough money. I do think it should clear here.
I think this wins. Yes, I think you should have played your flush 5 if you're Super Hider. You gotta be concerned because of that foil on the business card. You're actually scoring more than you think you are. You can't sandbag as hard as you usually would.
Absolutely. Should have been a flush 5, getting as much money as you can off of that while able to get just as much money as possible. We do see the blue seal here. Considering it, grabbing it and skipping the rest, I do agree with this play. But here is another boss blind that we haven't talked about at all, but it could be terrifying, and that's the needle.
Yeah, the needle, the play only one hand, bring out your best. What this really does, I think, for the PvP experience is remove the ability to dig for your best hand a lot more. A lot of the times in PvP play, you're just playing hands to get rid of cards from your 8-hand draw pool, right? You want to form your best hand as quick as possible. Needle leaves you with only the discards that you have to do that, and that's the main drawback.
Absolutely. It's similar to the water what we were talking about earlier on in the stream. Both those boss blinds for PvP pretty much do the exact same thing. They just allow you to see less of your deck. Eternal baseball card. I don't know about that.
Crazy with one uncommon. I think that would be a crazy pull.
Emperor into death. Yeah. Okay,
Nuts.
Hydear. Okay, Hydear, sure.
While holding a fool. Crazy.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. You know, it's called luck, and it's a skill. That's how it works. Golden Joker is straight up an upgrade from the Cloud9 at this point. I like to see it. Although what I don't like to see is Super Hider passing up that voucher. I think buying the reroll voucher is always necessary.
That's so much money just saved overall. And we Sorry, and we do have the money do have the jokers to get back up there with that business card and that golden joker, even though that's going to perish soon. Both those jokers should allow us to get back up in terms of econ fairly fast. We don't have the gold cards to take advantage of Mime's value, but even then, I think it is indeed a mistake, simply because of how much money that reroll actually saves over the course of a game. You can essentially think of it as $1 every single time you reroll.
That's a great way to think of it. I think it's even more than just $1 per reroll, since it takes you down to 3 at the first one, right?
Yeah, I do believe. Actually, yeah, you're right. No, it is like $2 per reroll, which means that essentially after 5 rerolls,
$2 for each time you enter shop, and then it's $1 saved on each reroll afterwards from that, which is like to quantify it it's difficult to do. It's so difficult to quantify because it's so good.
it's essentially just usually considering most players reroll like what 3 to 4 times per shop. Essentially,
At least,
it's reimbursed after 2 to 3 shops guaranteed.
That's a better way to think about it. I like to think of it as just like 1 or 2 free rerolls when I go in with a big bankroll. We see Balanos actually took it too, which is nice to see. We're debating this Fibonacci.
He also lost a life to the big blind. If y'all didn't see that.
Oh my god, you're right.
We are blind. That is, we are big blinds. That is definitely true.
We were so focused on Super Hider's play. Balanos Bear did lose a life to that big blind, which is actually incredibly important here. Super Hider doesn't know that yet, but I don't think it should change how Super Hider's playing too much. Super Hider was already playing to snuff out Balanos in the long term, but now the long term just shows up sooner.
Exactly, and that flush 5 with 3 steel cards this time should be more than enough to clear whatever Balanos Bear has. The issue with Balanos Bear is that, as I mentioned earlier, that hologram just dilutes his deck by quite a bit. He has 58 cards in his deck right now, and that just makes it really hard to find a confident hand to play towards a lot of the time. And we still have that Cloud9, we still have that Even Steven, that Mime does have a few steel cards, but it doesn't have that much more. Let's see it on the side of Super Hydiar. It is up to 57k with that one hand. We need those flat bolt hits to connect here. And
no money, no plus 20, and our X-Molt is not enough to get us through. We didn't even get any Even Steven value off of that hand too. We liked Balanos' hologram play earlier in the game, but since it was a rental and since we had barely any econ to go off of at like any point in this game, we didn't make any golds. We didn't have any other like new econ besides the Cloud9. Balanos has fallen behind in the shop and hasn't been able to recover from the expansion of their deck. We're still up to 59 cards in Balanos' deck. It's just hard to find the correct hand to play.
And on the other side, Sidear has just been able to get so many steel cards on board, so many deaths, so many chariots, and being able to play flush 5s with steel cards in your deck, that is something that's quite insane, and I don't think we are talking about that quite enough.
It's true. It's playing a high power hand that you don't have to like workshop or plan it up. Because that's the downside with just playing hide card and playing steals. You need an overwhelming amount of steals to overcome the low level of your high card. We see the Sock and Buskin showing up for Super Hider, but does it even actually do anything for us? I don't think Super Hider's checked the lobby info yet, so he doesn't know that Balanos is down to 1 life. But Sock and Buskin doesn't actually help us in our playstyle. Sock and Buskin only gets us expected EV with that business card. We only have the business card for 1 more turn. So do we even take it?
It's essentially just free chips. The thing that's probably running through Super Hidear's head right now is potential value later. This Sock and Buskin could be useful if I find another business card, could be useful if I want to rotate at some point, could be a lot of things, but for now, it is essentially just some more chips, because why not?
We do see here, like I was talking about, playing that high-level hand that doesn't need any work done, along with steals supporting it at the bottom. That's effectively like having a decent hologram already that you don't have to build extra for, right? that's why in PvP you don't see a lot of people taking those just straight up low numbered X-Molt cards, because with 2 or 3 steel cards in your deck with your played hand, you're already getting about 2.25x, maybe 3x multiple scoring. So it might not be worth it to consider holding a hologram, might not be worth it to consider holding a see, Lucky Cat's worth it because it scales with your retriggering, and that's where a build like that would already want to go. So that's why you see most people like picking up a Lucky Cat, and it scales faster than a hologram. But something that needs to build scaling, and we see Super Hider getting rewarded for the Sock and Buskin pickup already. Oh my gosh!
With the immediate photograph, but yeah, I do agree with your idea of hologram. I just also think in general that maybe like it's never. I wouldn't say. We've seen me play hologram quite a bit over the course of this game, but maybe not throwing it away, but definitely stopping feeding it for a bit and just leaving it as this X. How much is it by now? Like 3.5.
I think it's 3.5. Yeah.
Just leave it at the 3.5, but stop feeding it. Play towards a specific hand. Play towards the hand that you need. That way, you're able to more easily. Just get Super Hider's number on a build that you're really aiming for. And we have seen some pieces already line up for that, depending on just how many shops behind or in front of Super Hider or Balatro Bear is.
Here is a boss blind that might hurt people in the weekly tournament. The Psychic, being forced to play 5-card hands, really cuts into players that are playing towards high card builds, like Mime Baron builds, or like the Steel Baron builds, Steel Mime builds that we see both players opting for here. I think this will especially hurt Balanos because a majority of their scoring right now is coming from that halfsies.
Yeah, that plus 20 mult is really, especially given the fact that it's triggers before the hologram, before all of that. That plus 20 multi is pretty much all. It's like most of where Balatro Bear's scoring is coming from right now, and we're right before the boss blind as well. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I feel like we need something big on the side of Balatro Bear within this shop if we want to try and win this finals.
Yeah, I'm very worried about Balanos' chances here. Picking up the Eternal Baseball card, we do have one. We have 4 uncommons. We have 4 uncommons.
Oh,
because Mime is uncommon, Hollow is uncommon, Fibonacci's uncommon, and so is Sock. So that is 1.5 to the 4. That's effectively having 4 steals on deck, or I guess 2 steals on deck in this circumstance since we have Mime. So it's a good pickup for Balanos here.
I completely forgot about the Sock and Buskin being uncommon. You're absolutely right. That is a huge pickup on the side of Balatro Bear that Super Hider either didn't consider or just didn't realize how strong it was. For the record, 1.5 to the power 4 is approximately a times 5.
Yeah. So very, very, very powerful. More powerful than that hologram even right now. Stacked with the hologram, that's over 15x mult. And if we get some steel cards going, this could be a very powerful hand to play. The issue, of course, being that Balatro Bear has a less powerful hand to play than Super Hider does. Balatro Bear has to play pairs as their most leveled hand. That's only 8 mult getting multiplied by over that 15x mult. See, going to 44. If you can play consistent pairs each time, then you're in business if you're Balatro Bear. And this is where that standard gold stakes play comes in handy, all right? You see the Dr. Spectre special just playing hands to beat the boss blind.
Yeah, consistent scoring, especially giving the Psychic, preventing you from really doing as much as you'd want in terms of using hands to clear your hand, well, in general. But regardless, Super Hider not able to get any of the steals that he wants in hand, so just not at all able to clear Balatro Bear for now, who
Let's see what the voucher is for Balanos.
Quite a bit of advantage.
Oh, magic trick.
Magic trick.
Bummer.
Oh.
That would have been an interesting thing to see if Super Hider's choice to not take that reroll voucher earlier on would have resulted in a more powerful voucher coming from Balatro Bear. That would have been very interesting to see, but alas, we don't get to live in that world. We live in this world.
Unfortunate indeed. Not rewarded for the reroll voucher pickup. Then again, rewarded by the furthering of your econ within the shop, of course. But not rewarded further for picking that up. So we'll just have-
Absolutely. We do see the cracks in Super Hyder's armor here. All right, Super Hyder cannot score more than 60k without something drastic changing as it is, or without making like what red seal steals. Because Super Hyder didn't have, I think, only had like what one steal on deck when they played the Flush 5 that time. Unless Super Hyder can engineer a situation in which to get more steals in hand, he's going to be in trouble even in these small blinds and big blinds.
Yeah, I think at this point we're starting to be a bit worried for these players. We're starting to enter the antes where the PvE blinds actually matter a whole lot. We did see Balanos lose a life to the big blind, and I think Super Hyder just loses one to the small one. The
Might
issue,
have to, yeah.
the issue is that if we don't find anything to power ourselves up, something fierce within the small blind, we might just end up fully dying to the big blind.
And Super Hyder, it looks like Super Hyder might get his life taken by this small blind. Nope, we pats it up. That's fine. All right, good to see. And we're still leveling up our Eris there. That felt like a gamble, but it was pretty safe to take it anyway. I think Super Hyder should have known that he was okay to live there, since his hand during that last PvP blind didn't have any bonus cards in it, and it's still past 60k.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more than enough at this point. And I don't believe I've seen this. Granted, we do have a death, at the very least another one. It feels like we've gotten so many at this point in the game.
So many.
But it is potentially one more steal in hand, but I don't know if that's going to be enough at this point. We get the juggler for one more hand size, a bit more steal in hand once again.
Oh, wow. Incredible Emperor for Balanos there.
What the okay, I look away for just a second from Balanos.
Oh my god.
Oh
And
my
the chariot shows up too. Oh my god. Creating 3 steals with that full death chariot trio. Exactly what you want to see for Balanos.
Because why not, after all? But
Yeah, why not? Why not? Just show it to us. Just show it to us, you know.
But yeah, just having that an insane tarot loadout going into the big blind here, just getting a lot more value out of that. We do see a death as well on the side of Super Hyder, getting one more steal available alongside some card level ups and the Hierophant, which unfortunately I don't believe is going to do much for them aside from just that much, that little few chips for their high card value with the steal cards in hand. We'll have to see how much he can make here. It's only 3,000. It's so little. We have not upgraded high card at all. We have not upgraded high card at all. So the base mod of 1 is really showing just how little it is doing right now.
I think Super Hyder should be okay here, since he'll have those 2 steal in hand. That's a 4x multiplier to our Flush 5, which we are already super high leveled in. We've got that bonus card from last time. Just 75k boosted by that 4x multiplier is much more than enough to clear the boss blind here, and to clear Balanos' last highest score in that PvP blind. Balanos needs to play a high capacity of hands. Needs to play a lot of hands to even match Super Hyder's max effective score. So we're really at the mercy of luck here for Super Hyder. But this is the position that you want to end up in for PvP.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a matter of getting those more consistent hands on the side of Elnos Bear. We, that hologram has kept being fed for a while now, and we just have so much unconditional X mold now. The only thing that's conditional at this point is the Mime Steel cards and the Fibonacci hands. Otherwise, every little thing here is unconditional X mold, and that just gives you so much potential scoring even during the throwaway hands that are so important in Gold Stakes PvP.
Absolutely. And we're going into the Super Hyder sold out of their... What did they sell out of? It doesn't matter exactly what they sold out of. They sold out of something to get a juggler pickup for this last PvP blind. That shows you exactly how worried Super Hyder is about finding their hand. But I think both players might not have looked at what the boss blind was here, because we have... is this one the... oh, shoot.
This one is you can't play the same cards that you have planned.
Yes, yeah, you can't. Any cards that you have played during this ante are their effects are disabled. So that includes the steal effect. So you can't even, if you're Super Hyder, have a huge mass of steel cards on the bottom that you've played and get value out of them. Luckily for Super Hider, a little bit I think here is that Super Hider didn't see a lot of their steel jacks earlier in the PvP blind. So if they can still cobble together a flush 5 and have like what 3 steals left on the deck, that's going to be that maximum scoring capacity or close to it of about 300,000. But we see Balatro Bear playing just pairs, scoring 500,000.
That's exactly what I mentioned, Rockall. Those unconditional X molds are really paying off here. Just playing those pairs, not having to risk anything, whereas Hydier has to play that flush 5, and without any X mold at all, it is going to fail. Without any steal, it's bound to fail, and we're down to the last life for both of these players going into the last ante of this Lemon Legend tournament.
Very, very dangerous stuff. If I'm Super Hider there, I'm kind of cursing my luck a little bit. But like you mentioned, Balatro Bear has unconditional mold. Super Hider has a very high variance hand, probably scores more than what Balanos can score like as total. But it's about getting that all in front of you. And even if it is favored towards you, it's still luck. Balatro Bear doesn't care a whole lot about luck. Even if their deck is super diluted, they are just playing pairs.
Yeah, absolutely. The hologram point is kind of mute there when your hand essentially just requires two. Only requires two cards of the same type. So we'll have to see if he can if Balatro can keep that going. Maybe feed that hologram even more with more seals, depending on what he wants to do. We'll have to see for now. One more chariot.
Another chariot.
Why not?
Why not? Throw them to us like the wind. They're good for us. They are, in fact, our vegetables.
I will have several questions at the end of this stream about your nutrition, but that is besides the point. Regardless, Balanos able to get easily clear those blinds at this point, getting a bit of money as well from the gold cards, boosting the pairs by quite a bit with that Mercury, and now they're up to 17 base mold. All of that gets really. I know I pay a lot of attention to the base mold of the hands themselves, but considering how unconditional Balanos's X mold is, that base mold from the hands, it matters a whole lot, because no matter the hand you do, it is always going to get multiplied by the same amount, unless you have steel cards in hand.
Absolutely, that's why it does matter. And now I am super worried for Super Hider here, unless we somehow find a way to create a red seal. A duo helps out with our scoring issues for Super Hider. That's effectively a 2x on the correct hand that we want to play. We saw him scoring 500,000 there with his best hand, and Super Hider really can only play one of his hands. That's the primary reason why I'm worried. We don't have like a played enhancement that's helping us out with our best hand too, because we're trying to save as many steel jacks as possible to be on the bench for us. But our best hand is only about 1 million. I'm pretty sure Balatro Bear can score consistently more than 1 million with all of their hands summed together.
Absolutely, you have 4 hands, and each of those is probably around 400k. So total that to a very crisp 1,600,000 if all of those are 200. Are they? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. If all of those are 40k, but as we see, that's not even close to done. We get 100k off a single pair. So if we just can get some steel on the board, no matter what, we're just going to be able to fully clear whatever Super Hider has.
That's the super dangerous part here for Super Hider. Balatro Bear just needs a couple of steel cards to appear, and their hands go from scoring, what, 50k to 1 million.
Oh my goodness.
If you're scoring 1 million with a single pair, I think you've got to be very worried about Super Hider's maximum scoring potential with this flush 5 here being only around 500k, even with that duo.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, actually, Hydier tried to scam the blue seal into giving him Plutos, but unfortunately, he just couldn't score enough, even with all that steel, so he was forced to get that flush 5 going. No Plutos to speak of, no chances to make that small hand with all of those steel cards stronger. So now we're just going into the PvP blind with the Serpent, actually. I
think this is an interesting boss blind for this scenario specifically, and I want to add on, Super Hider's chances here either go up drastically or go down, depending on what he draws here. Just because the Serpent can allow you to like break over the hand carry cap Like, you can have more than 8 or more than 9 in Super Hyder's case here, right? Super Hyder has to draw more steals, no matter what. If Super Hyder is able to draw a full hand of his steals, I believe Super Hyder can take this. It could go just as likely towards Balanos, though, because Balanos still has those steals in hand and is agnostic towards which steals he draws.
Absolutely, and we're getting a lot of steel on Balanos' hand right now. We're getting up to 3 mil.
3 million! And that's not even their best hand to play here. We're playing a foil enhanced jack here.
Far from it, goodness, it could very well be 6 mil off of that. Close, it was 5
million.
mil. It was 5 million with that foil, goodness. That shows that chips actually matter, folks. Never put all of your eggs in the mold basket. Jesus Christ, Belanos.
Oh my gosh.
The underdog, the dark horse of this tournament, is coming in and utterly bullying Super Hyder right now with those pairs, and we're just keeping it going. We're going all the way to 21 mil, and there's no
classic
way here.
Classic gold stakes gameplay. Hyder putting up a respectable score here. It's going to be 7.65 million, but that's not enough to beat the 21 million sum of all hands that Balanos was able to play.
That is a GG's, folks, as we say in this line of field. And yeah, that's just going to be everything sold from just a rage sold and lost for Super Hyder at the finals. I don't know if I want to make fun of him, actually. Not this time.
I can't make fun of Super because he just got gold stakes diffed, I think. This is why you ban gold stakes if you're not confident that you can do exactly what Balanos Bear did. If you cannot play that regular good gold stakes strategy, then you might cook. You might get cooked. You might get completely cooked.
And on that note, congrats to Belanos Bear for winning this entire tournament. As we mentioned, the dark horse coming into this, no rank to speak of, and yet making mincemeat out of a lot of good players, including Super, in those finals. Great base gameplay from him overall. No tricks, no fancy schmancy PvP nonsense that we're used to, just regular old Balatro for most of their games, and it worked out tremendously, so congrats to Belanos.
We could call Balanos the dark horse all we want, but it is true that Balanos plays tons of gold stakes on their own channel that you can go check out.
I was going to suggest we play gold stake because I was like, I'm in for a challenge, and that was the challenge I got. I ended up getting.
Okay, well now I'm gonna make fun of you. Now I'm gonna make fun of you because you asked for this. You went in willingly here. You're supposed to take him into your lane, Super, and show him how you operate.
I just wanted to have fun,
And also,
just wanted to have fun.
Chat, we cope and we say that Super was just practicing for the tournament at the end of the week where he was practicing his gold stake gameplay.
Real.
And
Real.
so at the end there, he's going to be able to get those 21 mil hands as well. But yeah, Paris King is the idea behind this tournament.
Yeah, but honestly, thank you for coming. That's going to be it. This is just a quick little tournament. Big GG to Belanos Bear, big gamer. He is a gold stake fanatic. He plays way more than me on higher stakes, and because I'm a white stake merchant, right? I'm a multiplayer merchant. That's what I do. That's what I am. That's in every fiber of my DNA. And I just wasn't prepared for the gold stake. I thought I was, but I really wasn't. But we'll leave it there, and thank you guys for watching. And also thank you guys, Rokal, Scoped, and Migs for when he was here. You guys are all great commentators.